Hi, welcome. My name is Jason Prigge, the area coordinator for Granite City Wildlife here in the St. Cloud metro area. Thank you for saying yes and being a friend to middle schoolers and being a friend of wildlife. We're so excited that you are a part of our team. This is a great opportunity to just be really casual and talk about what on earth did I get myself into as a young life or wildlife leader. And so we are just going to go through some basic things, a little history of what Young Life is and what we're doing here with wildlife in St. Cloud, along with just some really key things and about your role as a wildlife friend and leader to middle schoolers. So, um, just to get started, Young Life is a relational outreach ministry, reaching out to young people, uh, building a relationship with them, going to their sporting events, have them come to club, praying with them, loving on them, hanging out with them, uh, and then also proclaiming the gospel in a language that makes sense for young people and that they can develop a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. Um, and that's what it's all about. That's what we're here to do. Young Life was really big in the St. Cloud area back in the 90s. Um, and it is really exciting that Bishop Patrick here at the St. Cloud Diocese has a desire to bring this back in our area. So, One in Christ Catholic Community, we are piloting this, but it is not just a Catholic initiative. Young Life is all about going after that furthest out kid, those who are not Catholic, Protestant, who might be Catholic, or those who have never heard the gospel before. Our job is to befriend these young people and to love on them just as God intended and God designed them to be. And so we picked the name Granite City as an all encompassing feel that is true to our heritage and our history of granite in the St. Cloud area and, of course, the surrounding suburbs. That it's not just St. Cloud wildlife, but truly Granite City, encompassing all of us together um, as Christians, as believers, of those who have a relationship. I want to share a little bit of a story of how Young Life got its bearings and how Young Life started back in 1941 by a guy named Jim Rayburn. And he worked at a local church. A local pastor asked him, "Hey, go out, go find the kids, go see where they're at." And so he went to school and had lunch with them and invited them to club and just opened up his home. And always, club was full. Each week it just got bigger and bigger, the living room space, and eventually he just had to like have his back up against the wall because there was nowhere else for this guy to stand and to share the gospel. Well, there was this guy on a football team named Burr Nichols, and this little blonde beauty queen, as he calls her. She was dating the quarterback of the football team, Burr Nichols, and invited him to club. And it was a really tough, you know how football players can be, the stereotype of just really tough exterior, interior, not willing to share or open up. He came to club and experienced hearing the gospel message for the first time. And Jim invited him back and encouraged a relationship, and they hung out. And he um, said, "It'd be great to see you again. I'm inviting you back to club." And uh, Burr Nichols is like, "Well, can I bring the rest? Some of the guys on the football team. They need to hear how great this is." And he's like, "That'd be great." So the next club starts the week after, and everybody's there, including the theological beauty queen, if you will. She's sitting there, but there was no sign of Burr Nichols. And again, Burr Nichols was a football player, just kind of rough around the edges, and they began club anyway. And about 5 minutes later, there's pounding on the porch entryway and on the door. Opens the door and it's Burr Nichols. "I'm so sorry I'm late. I'm so sorry late, but I had a hard time recruiting these guys, these 5 guys to come with me to club, and here we are. We hope we didn't miss it." And through that relational ministry, there's 5 other people who heard the gospel for the first time at club. Unfortunately for Burr Nichols, he was killed in a car accident, and so but because of that relationship that he had with Jesus and how he helped form others, it really gave Young Life its start. And so I just want to read this quote from Jim Rayburn, so you kind of get a sense of our mission and our purpose here in the Granite City wildlife area. "Burr grew up on the wrong side of the tracks and was a regular ruffian. All the Lord was waiting for was somebody to get a little bit interested in Burr, thus Jim Rayburn. A little blonde beauty queen and a little pipsqueak theological student, Burr was a precious soul for whom the Lord died. This country is full of people like that. And there are thousands of people in this country that no Christian has ever said a kind word to. Most of the kids in this nation are like that. A few million more of them will graduate from high school this year, just like Burr Nichols, and they had never heard the story, and I just can't stand it. Every young person we encounter has a story like this, and it's waiting to be told. That Jesus loves them, that God designed them to be who they're meant to be, and that there's nothing wrong with them in a world where young people are constantly feeling that I'll never measure up, I'm not good enough, that stress, that anxiety. Here at Wyldlife Granite City, we want to make sure that every middle schooler we encounter, every middle school friend is known, seen, heard, loved, and cared for. That is our purpose, that each young person, each middle school friend belongs here with us, here at Wyldlife Granite City. So thank you for your yes, or thank you for your maybe yes if you're coming to observe and check this out. We are grateful for your opportunity, for this opportunity, and your ministry and mission. This is so important. Your role as a small group leader or a catechist or a youth ministry team leader or faith formation team leader, thank you for continuing to walk with your young people. It is absolutely crucial that your ministry happens. So let's share a little bit about Wyldlife Leader. What is a Wyldlife Leader? What are some of the steps? So a Wyldlife Leader needs to complete a background check. And so in our circle, we do have, in the Catholic circle, I should say, we have background checks that are through Catholic Mutual. Young Life has their own process. And so anytime we do a Young Life event, such as Wyldlife Club, or we go to camp, all leaders and staff need to go through background check and the Young Life training. Okay, so it's a little bit different than maybe Catholics might be used to, but we follow those practices and the best and the policies that Young Life has in store. So we always resort to that. Okay. One of the other key pieces is it's helpful to maintain and know the difference between being a leader and a chaperone, because they're two very different things. A chaperone is somebody who sits on the sidelines and watches everything happen. A leader is in the trenches, in the weeds. As Pope Francis would say, and again, in the Catholic circle, go out and smell like the sheep. Get out there, get messy. Ministry is messy. Building relationships is messy. There's nothing clean or easy about this. But that's what a leader is. A leader goes after the one, right? Leaves the 99, goes after the one, is playing the games, is striking conversations with middle school friends. Okay, so being a leader is about being an active participant in a young person's life. Okay, going to sporting events, going out to coffee, having ice cream, participating in their very life, just as Jesus did. Jesus was not a chaperone. Okay, so what is Club? What are we doing? So Club is a safe place where kids and leaders can laugh, play, and hear the gospel clearly proclaimed. Club is held at a neutral location, so we'll be meeting at the St. Cloud YMCA. It's a neutral location because it is a great opportunity for kids who might have been hurt by the church or don't know anything about the church or not interested in the church. It's a safe, neutral location for them to come hear that gospel. They might be more open to receiving, right? It's at a neutral location because, again, it's not just for Catholics. This is for Protestants, non-denominational, Lutheran, Methodist, whoever it is. Young Life is for everybody. And that is true for our Wyldlife Granite City area. Catholics, of course, are welcome to this. How cool is it that we're all going to gather? There's a camp that I once went to, and it's a good friend of mine, and I love the wisdom. We are not going to solve 400 plus years of theological differences through club or through camp, but we are going to know and experience who Jesus Christ is and that he desires a relationship with you and I. Let's set aside those differences at this neutral location, all those different theologies, and let us listen to the gospel. We're not going to solve those, and nor are we going to attempt to solve them in our time together. Our focus is on our young people and our middle schoolers. So club follows a formula meeting the needs of our middle school friends, which kind of has this up and down flow chart, kind of like a heart rate, where things are up, 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 and down, up, 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 up. It keeps moving, right? Um, we're always going to be anticipating in participation. All right. Sometimes the element of surprise is a good thing, in the sense that if young people know what we're up to or know kind of our plan, and they build an expectation in their head and we don't meet it, how disappointing that experience would be. So the structure of our club at Granite City is they'll come through the doors, which are closer to the rock climbing wall. We have our own entrance. We have our own little sign that says welcome. There'll be a couple staff there, committee members greeting parents and kids. Well, they'll come into a check-in table. Well, they'll either turn in a club card, or we'll look online to see if they completed a digital club card, or we'll assist families in filling out a club card right there on the property. They're certainly most welcome the night of to fill that out. And then we'll ask them a question, something goofy like, hey, like what kind of ice cream, vanilla or chocolate? And then they'll have to kind of decide. And these questions will come in handy in a second because, again, it's all about like setting kids up for wins, right? So giving a kid or a young person a win is making them like feel good and that they have a place where they do belong, right? Kids are kind of dealt losses all the time. And so anytime that we can build up our young people to give them a win, to make them feel good about themselves, or they can say something funny, we're all about that at club. And so they'll head into the open gym at the YMCA. There's like basketball and etc. Our role as a leader during those times are to be like, hey, can I join your game of basketball? Or hey, do you want to do this with me? Hey, let's do this together. It's never just watching basketballs fly. It's about getting in there, talking with middle schoolers. It's about getting to know them and their buddies. And then at 6:45, our club room opens, which will be in a conference room. It's one of the carpeted spaces. We'll have upbeat music that is familiar to our middle school friends. And then we'll be doing some mixing it up, getting kids moving around, right? And then we'll have our raffle drawing. And so for some Young Life, Wyldlife swag, we'll be giving away some shirts, stickers, whatever it is, whatever we have. It's a great opportunity to engage in that. And this is like, remember how I said at the check-in, there's always going to be a question asked. The reason for that is they can introduce themselves and say, hey, my name is Jason, and a Wyldlife leader might ask me, what's your favorite ice cream flavor? I am then prepared, and I don't have to feel awkward, right? Because in middle school, that can feel awkward sometimes when you're put on the spot. It doesn't put me on the spot. It sets us up for a win, and I feel like I can contribute. After the raffle, we'll have some more upbeat music, and then we have a skit and upfront game. And the whole purpose of the skit is that laughter breaks down barriers and walls. If they can see our Young Life leaders being goofy or Wyldlife leaders being goofy, more receptive to what could be potentially coming in a gospel message. You break down those barriers, those walls, those expectations, and kids just get to enjoy our humor. But it leads to an upfront game where we bring middle school friends and a leader up front to participate in our antics. And we're really excited about the direction that is going. Full participation, full humor. It's where middle school friends get to interact with a leader and be goofy with a leader. And it's all in good fun. There'll be a transition of music to something slower, like a praise and worship, something slower, setting up time for announcements about upcoming club events, promoting summer camp. And then our speaker will always have a speaker who will share just like 5 to 8 minutes, the gospel, proclamation of the gospel for our lives and our middle school friends. We'll at 7:45, we'll pray, have snack, dismiss. There may be some if there's time, we may circle up for some conversations, processing the talk, like 1 or 2 questions, like what did you hear? What's interesting to you, right? So that's a little bit of our structure of club at Granite City. So here's some pro tips for you. Know your role and own your role. So if you are a check-in person, that's exactly it. You're still that friendly face. You're the first person they encounter. We're not yelling at them as they're checking in, like, "Hey, that's not where that goes," or "That don't stick that there." That got to use this pen. No, like, "Oh, I'm so glad you're here. What's your name? What school do you go to? What is your favorite ice cream flavor?" Right? Um, that we're hospitable, and if you're a leader, you're interacting. You're not on the sidelines ever. If you're set to like watch the door, be the door guard, that is your role for the night. Like you that just watch the door, right? If you're the snack runner, getting snack ready, you're getting snack ready. Just own it, right? Obviously, we'll be around to help with questions, but make some decisions and just own what you're doing. You guys are all very capable. Hospitality is key. We want all young people, adult leaders, and families to know that, like, hey, we're safe people. And we want you to all know that you belong here, that it's not awkward, and that we welcome each guest as if it were Christ coming through the door himself. Okay, that's a great rule of thumb to go by. That we're going to welcome Jesus as if he were to come through our door. That's the same treatment we give to our families and to our middle school friends. So wheat. No, we're not just talking about bread. Wheat is a great pro tip if you are unsure or like slightly introverted or like a little awkward talking to people, especially middle schoolers. That can be daunting. It's not an easy practice, but wheat sets us up for some success here. So wheat is like, okay, who are you? Tell me about yourself. Um, or like, where do you live? Those are good questions. Hobbies. What are you interested in? What do you like to do? Do you play a sport? Do you do theater? Do you sing? Like, what are some of your hobbies? Entertainment. What's the best movie you've seen? Like, what's the most recent movie you've seen? What is the number one song on your Spotify playlist or Apple playlist at this time? What activities are you involved in at school? Are you involved in a club or a sport? Tell me more about that. And then travel. Where have you been? Have you been to this state? Or like tell me about the best place you've traveled or maybe the worst vacation you've ever experienced. These again are all great ways to break down those barriers with young people and for you to enter into their world, right? Not to enter yours. It's all about our young people. Of course, I thank you so much for taking the time, and that was a lot of details. These club nights and what we're doing is really complex. There's, again, like I said earlier, there's nothing clean about relational ministry, but it is the best practice, and it's exactly what Jesus would have asked us to do. If you ever have any questions or need any support, you can always count on me, Jason, your area director here at Granite City Wyldlife. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.